Good morning, everybody. Brooke with Mrs. Cog Hill Farm, and I'm happy to be home. If you haven't been following along, I took a little trip with Mary Carl down to the Gulf Coast, and we're gone for 10 days, so I missed a couple of videos, but I'm back and I'm happy to be here. We have had some rain, some much needed rain here in Alabama, where we've been in an extreme drought. Over the past few days, we have had 4 inches of rain. It's a break right now, which I need it to be because I got to go take care of the farm, but some more's on the way. So let's see if we can't get some things taken care of while the storm is at rest. My very orange dogs, who have been taking advantage of the new driveway that Mr. Greg built out in front that goes to the shop over here, they're taking advantage of that red on the edges, and it's not necessarily a good thing. They've been hanging out in the garage. I've got the door cracked. Rocky does not mind a storm. Bandit, on the other hand, he has a fit when bad weather comes, and so all he wants is somewhere off the porch where he feels secure. He wants to come in the house. Obviously, that's not an option for him as a livestock guardian dog. So I always open up the garage door and leave it to where they can get out, which is a pretty big crack because they're big boys. But I think they'll be going back in there directly because we're not done with this weather yet. Look at how wet everything is. I tell you, the grass was getting crunchy and things were beginning to, well, you could notice that we were in an extreme drought. And then the pond down here was just about completely dried up. And now my little house that I built is almost floating again. So my 4 inches of rain can change things. You can probably hear the background noise of the frogs. And that's what happens when we get some rain, is the frogs come out, and at night it's almost ear-piercing, the sounds that the frogs make. Certain times of the year, you walk outside and you can't hardly hear yourself talk, it's so loud. And I think we may be approaching that time of year. First thing I did when I got home was cut all the grass on the property. And you can see around the pond over here really looks a lot better since that grass has been cut. Oh my goodness. I feel that it's starting to rain again, and the truck is in the barn because we had some feed in it and knew that rain was coming and didn't have a chance to get it out, so we just pulled the truck into the barn. I actually got it unloaded yesterday evening, but I was driving the side-by-side, so I didn't bring the truck back over. And so my rain jacket is in the truck. So we're gonna try to get over there and beat the biggest part of the rain anyway. Well, I made it to the barn, and y'all see who's coming down the road. My little Dee Dee. She was indeed happy to know that I had made it home, and she kept her eyes on me to know that I wasn't going to leave again in the near future. Come on, girl. Oh boy, was I sadly mistaken. I thought my rain jacket was in the truck, got all the way over here, and I realized that I left it in Mary Carl's car. So now I'm not going to melt, no, but there's nothing like being wet in the cool air. So I'm gonna look around and see if I can't find something to, oh, goodness. Pocket says she can't wait. You're gonna have to get me fed. Pocket, what you doing this morning, girl? How you doing? I see you took your hair down and you got some gunk in your eyes. We thought your allergies were better. Goodness gracious. My big boy Bramble, hey buddy, I miss you. T-Rex Tater out here letting me know that rain, snow, sleet, hail, no matter what the weather is, you better get her some food. I mean it. You better get me fed. I'm coming, big girl. I'm coming. Well, I'm walking around looking for pig's bowls in the middle of hearing Tater call out saying she needs to be fed. And I heard something that I know is probably not going to be duplicated again because I want it to be. But one of the silky hens let out a crow. And hens can sometimes do that when there's not a rooster present. And it's not a normal sounding crow. It's a, oh, oh. It's kind of, I wish she would do it again. But of course, anytime I plan on recording something, it's not going to happen. I have a feeling it's the black silky here that's closest to us that's doing the crowing. There is a Cochin silky mix in the background. They're all three pretty vocal this morning. Aunt B, the white silky, she's not nearly as vocal as the other two. They want to go out first thing in the morning. I'm going to open the door, but I don't think we caught a crow this morning. There you go. Out you go. Oh, we got to shut the gate. I had let Nugget come in overnight because it was raining, and I don't even think he chose to come in. I think he hung out in the rain. He's back over there in the far pasture by the pond, but he has the ability to come over here. And since it's kind of looking like things may clear up, I'm gonna let the silkies out here. You can see how much rain we've had. This stall does not get wet unless it really comes a downpour, and it did really come a downpour. So which one of you is doing the crowing? I have no proof. I don't think I have any proof. Bramble, do you know who it is? No? Okay. I came through and let the goats out, and Honey and Jessie were in this stall. Even though the stall door was open on the far end down there, they were in this stall, but you can see that they are soaked. By choice, because they had a place to get out of the rain. Loretta was in here, and they don't challenge Loretta for her food. I can tell you that. Now, Ernest T and Opie, that's a different story. So I kind of pull the gate shut. Loretta can let Jessie and Honey out. Jessie and Honey can't necessarily let themselves out. But Loretta will let everybody out, and as soon as she finishes every last morsel. And a couple of goats came out, but the rest of them went inside the stall, and they should not have. But they kind of pushed past me, so I said I'm not interested in wrestling a goat this morning, and y'all will see that there's nothing in here for you, and you'll go right back outside. Right, Jessie? Jessie, you look like a wet donkey. That's what you look like, a wet donkey. Jessie is a lot more wet than Honey, but you can see both of them. Look at Tipper and Top. Y'all need to go out there on your rock and play King of the Mountain. See, Top was the one that reared up just then and challenged Tip. They've been around each other for all their lives, those two boys. And Tip seems to be the more dominant of the two, but you never know. You never know who's going to win. Look at the skies. Sun's trying to break through just a little bit. But I believe it's still going to rain a little bit more. What you think, Bramble? So I went out and fed the cows because I didn't want my camera to get soaking wet. And I got to show y'all what I did when I first came back home. First day I got here is I came into the stall and I saw my baby ducks, my 5 baby ducklings in the trough still. Jason had done a fantastic job at keeping it clean. He's got a bucket over there that he put the wet shavings in, which happened as soon as you put the new shavings in, they would get it wet, which is what we knew was going to happen. And so I said, well, I will take these ducklings outside and I'll set up the little corral that I used for Ernest T and Opie when they were little in the milk room. I picked this up used on Facebook Marketplace. And so I got it out here and I set it up, and you can see that the holes are really small in it. They're not like chain link fence. It's much smaller than that. I never had a doubt that they could get out. It never occurred to me that they could get out. Those tiny little holes, there's no gaps underneath. It's just the squares. I take all 5 of the ducklings and I put them in a little cat carrier. Because they're not, you know, huge, but they're too big for me to carry all 5 of them. And I put them out here and I opened the carrier up in this little corral. And as soon as I did, all 5 went different directions and they were going everywhere. It was absolutely crazy. And of course I was out the barn by myself. There's ducks going haywire. There's ducks going into the goat pasture. One of them came into the barn. One of them went over to pocket stall. One of them into the cow. And I said, oh my gosh, what have I done? Because one of them stayed in the carrier. One of them stayed in the carrier. I misspoke on that. So I shut the door on the one that was in the carrier, and the other 4, you know, were gone on their merry way. Never in a million years did I think that those ducklings could get out of that. So my wheels start turning. I said, well, we can't keep, you know, exchanging these shavings out, because they were just sitting in wet shavings. As soon as you change them out, it's back wet again. Well, I didn't put them in our GQF brooder initially because, well, their feet are soft and they're different than chickens because their feet are webbed. And so, oh my goodness. So that's the reason I didn't put them in here initially, is I wanted them to get a little bit older and their feet to, you know, not be so soft as a newborn duckling. Well, I said, I got to do what's best for them. And the best thing for them is for me to put them in this brooder so they're not sitting in wet shavings. Of course, they could probably care less if they're sitting in wet shavings, but it was just getting to the point where there was no point in putting shavings in. So here they are, y'all. I haven't checked on them as of yet this morning. Bramble just, come here, babies, come here. You can see their water's empty, and I filled it up last night, and this is first thing the next morning. Look at them. Look how much they've grown. I don't know if size shows up on the camera, but they are definitely, they're probably triple the size they were 2 weeks ago when they hatched. And I mean, that's what we want. But they're so cute and so precious and so nasty. You can see where the water is going now into this tray, which I will take the tray outside and squirt it off and exchange it for another tray. So they won't be sitting in wetness, and their little feet are not nearly as soft as they were 2 weeks ago. So I feel okay with them being in here. Now, they're not going to stay in here for long. As soon as they will not fit through the cracks, I will be taking them outside. During the day, they can stay outside in the sunshine, and I'll have a little shelter for them. And then at night, I'll bring them back in here where, you know, they're not vulnerable to predators. Now, they're not going to be super friendly. I was gone for 10 days. It is what it is. They're doing well. So let me get y'all's water filled up, and then before we do anything else, I'm going to show y'all my little chickies. Little chickies, we got to get y'all's brooder cleaned out too. Y'all want some mealworms this morning? Huh? You want some mealworms? Y'all are so cute. Yeah, they're so precious. Let's get you a treat. Let's see. Yeah, that moved a little bit, didn't it? Almost a little bit of a scare. Let's see here. Yeah. Let's see. Are y'all big enough to not drop them? Let's see. Come get them. Come get the bait. Come get the treat. Come here. Yeah. We did make a change by putting their feed in the little outside hanging feeder that's intended. I always felt like, well, they're not getting enough feed if this is hanging up outside, but this is what the feed stores use. It's what everybody that has this brooder setup uses. And so it's been a lifesaver for us to not accumulate all the feed in the bottom of the brooder tray. I see y'all are getting some treats, aren't you? You can see that the Morans, however you want to say it, are much bigger than the cream leg bars. They were a week older when I got them and brought them home, and they're of course a lot bigger now. A week makes a lot of difference in a chick. Oh goodness, I didn't shut y'all's door, did I? I better watch out or I'll have ducklings going everywhere in the barn. Hey babies. I'm going to try to friendly them up some. It'll be easier to do once I get them moved outside. I can sit down with them and let them see that I'm the treat bringer. But they're doing well. I'm very pleased. Now let me go get y'all's water filled up. I knew where to find you. Yes, I did. I knew Miss Biscuit was going to be sitting in her window seat, possibly with Sylvester, all alone this morning though, aren't you, sweet girl? Yeah. You're such a good girl. Yes, you are. You keep that seat warm, don't you? Yeah. Sylvester, did you make that mess? So, yesterday evening, I freeze-dried calendulas. Actually, the day I got home, I picked some calendulas that Jason had not had time to pick. And he had 2 trays in the freezer already, so I just added the freshly picked ones and went ahead and ran a cycle, put my freeze dryer trays on the top of the freeze dryer, which is where they sit and wait for the next round of flowers to go. And I see a cat made a loud noise. I bet that made cats go everywhere when those hit the ground. So, y'all are quite the critters. Yes, you are. Let's go get these ducks their water. You want to help? Nope. Bramble or Sylvester said he's going to get in that seat with Biscuit. He knows what his plans are today. And you know, I was surprised when I got back and I went out to cut calendulas. The blooms, as time goes on and heat gets more, you know, advanced as far as temperatures go, the blooms get really tiny comparison to what we had initially. So I went ahead and harvested them anyway because a tiny bloom does the same benefit as a larger bloom, but it's just crazy to see the difference in size, what it was before I left to what it is today. All right, let's get these ducklings some water. All right, babies. Let's see. It's easier if I open the top. Open the top instead of trying to go through the little crack. And they're eating full-size duck and goose food now. They're not having to have it ground up like they were initially. Their little beaks were so tiny that, well, they just couldn't eat it. So no more grinding food, and I may try again tomorrow or I don't know, before the next video to get them back outside because, you know, I want them to be able to, but we got more rain coming. Saturday it's going to rain, and this rain's not gone, so while they will have a shelter, I don't want them to sit out in the rain either, even though they're ducks. I just want them to be able to be dry, if they choose to anyway. Very rarely see me without sunglasses when the sun is shining, but you know, it was raining pretty good when I left the house and I felt no need to grab sunglasses, and now the sun is shining, so I'm gonna be squinty, and my eyes just don't tolerate the sun because I'm always wearing sunglasses. But we're gonna go over and gather eggs and collect eggs. Hopefully, yesterday I got 43, which was a good number. Of course, put them out by the stand and sold out just like that. Wanted to tell y'all a couple of things about the trip that Mary Carl and I went on. They banned birds, and that is for identification purposes, for data collection, for research. And there was a set of flycatchers, male and a female, a pair, that were caught in the net. They use what's called a mist net, and the birds fly into it. And some of them, every now and then, will already have a band on it. And so when that happens, they go into a data center, they enter that band number and information, and they can see where it was banded, how long ago it was banded, if it was ever captured again. Y'all, these two, this pair, were banded at that location 13 and 14 years ago. So I think that was the longest that they had, or the oldest bird that they had ever recaptured, and been able to see just how long it had been since they banded those birds. So that's an example of some of the research that, you know, is beneficial from a banding. And it was a great week for her as far as experience goes. It was a great week for me, but it's not my passion. My passion is running heavy equipment. So sitting, watching them catch the birds and learning information, seeing my daughter, you know, thrive and just soak in all that information, yes, it was a good thing, but it was for her. And so I'm happy to be back, and I'm happy to be with my feathered friends. Now, we had an empty feeder over here that the top blew off of last night, and we do have some more of the Combat laying pellets to put in there, and I'm kind of glad we didn't put it in there, because the one that has feed left in it, the top didn't blow off of. Go figure. I guess that was the way it was meant to be. Are y'all ready for your treats this morning? Yeah. Yeah, I had to get the water off the top. I'm sorry it scared you. Let's see. Get y'all some scratch over here. Get that feeder turned up. And that's what I got out of the truck yesterday evening. All right. I don't think they miss me one bit. They don't care who takes care of them, as long as they get their treats and they get feed and water. Isn't that right, Cheese? You just don't care, do you, buddy? Nope. Some of y'all were wondering if the chickens used the ramp. And you can see there's one that just came out of the door. And she chose to use the stairs instead of the ramp. So that's what I've been seeing. I feel like personally they prefer the stairs over the ramp. And we may end up taking the ramp away. We're just gonna give it a little bit of time and make sure that that's the right choice. Now that's the same chicken that just came down the stairs, and she went right back up. Look at here. I hadn't even made it inside yet, but I see somebody trying to figure out, girl, just fly. That's what you got those wings for. Just fly down. You don't need me to come help you with your white egg sitting up there, hopefully only one. Come on down. I don't want you to land on my head before I get in there. I must say, I'm gonna take the stairs though. I'm not gonna take that ramp either. I guess she's not gonna come down. She will. There we go. There we go. All right, what we got? Oh, there it is, back there in the corner. There's her white egg. Oh, goodness. Actually, there's two. I didn't see it till I got up here, so her and one of her lovely sisters chose to lay up above, and you can see the extra nesting box did nothing for that. But I have found that the extra nesting box, the one that we added, has had more eggs in it, which is what I expected. It's not that they don't prefer that nesting box, it's just, it's new, and they're creatures of habit. So let's see how many eggs we got today. All right, so we got the 2 Ancona eggs. So the 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and this is an Ancona egg as well, so they do use the box. 20, and I think I saw one up in here that didn't roll down. Yep, there's 21, and it's still wet, so that hen just got out of here. I see it's still happening. I've still got an egg eater, and I'm about to, I thought it had stopped. I'm not seeing an egg that's been eaten, but it's obvious that this one's been eaten. So I've got a remedy that I'm gonna try. Not today, but I've got something that I think may work, and I'm going to test it. So stay tuned to see if that will actually work. Goodness. Well, that made number 22, but of course it's no good for anybody but the chickens. So 24, 26, 28, and that's an ancona. 30, 32. Any eggs in here, girls? I've got two hens in there. 32, 33, 35, 37, and number 38. I'll take that. 43 yesterday and 38 today. I'm going to go over and check the calendula flowers since the rain and show y'all what I'm talking about as far as these little tiny blooms go. So I do have some that I need to pick. Are you ready for this? I wish I had a old bloom to show you the difference, but this is the size of them now. And these plants down here on the end were producing a bigger bloom. Let's see if they still are. Looks like they may have gotten smaller too. Yep, everything is pretty small now, but that's okay. They have been very, very productive, and you can see there's still lots of flowers left, but they're getting towards the end of this calendula season. I do need to get these picked though. Got all the eggs taken out to the egg stand and flip that sign around to eggs in stock. I am going to take some of the ones that, well, they weren't exceptionally clean like the other ones that we put out. They might have a spot or two on. I'm going home to fix us some breakfast. But first of all, I wanted to tell you guys about the ducks that were on the pond. The mama duck had, the mallard, she had 14 babies. And y'all saw that precious video. She sat on those eggs in the greenhouse, and all of those eggs hatched except for 2 of them, which I never thought she could hatch that many, being as small as she was and wasn't covering the eggs very good. But she did. She hatched 14 out of 16, and they looked like little ants, and they were thriving. They were doing well when I left, and I did not ask Jason while I was gone about the ducklings, because I knew that nature was going to take its course, and I really didn't want to know if anything negative had happened. And so I just left it like that, and I got home, and of course the first thing that I noticed when I looked over at the pond was there weren't any little ants swimming around. And so at that point I asked Jason, and he said literally they were there the day before, and the next day they were all gone. And I don't know what happened. I do not know what happened. You know, nature can be very cruel, and I thought when I saw her and those babies hatched initially, I thought I could gather them all up, and I could gather her with them, and I could bring them in the barn. I could put them in a stall, and I even consulted Mary Carl. I said, do you think the mama will leave them if I put them in the stall? And she didn't think so. And then you know, the more I thought about it, I knew what she wanted to do. I knew as soon as those babies were ready, she wanted to take them to the pond, and she wanted to, you know, let her babies live their best life. And I did that, and I didn't collect them. And I'm not kicking myself for not interfering with what nature is intended to do. I just am simply stating that it crossed my mind that I could gather them because I thought they would be vulnerable. But in the past, when the ducklings have gone down to the pond, it's almost immediately. When something happens to them, it's almost immediately. And I don't think it was a turtle. I don't think it was a snapping turtle. I've walked around, but even before the rain happened. The rain didn't start until the day prior to me coming home. And so I was able to walk the pond and see if there were any remains. If it was a turtle, I do believe there would be some kind of remains. I believe that I would have seen something left behind, and there was absolutely nothing. And that is one reason that I am not putting these babies out onto the pond. This is me. This is I am their caretaker. They don't have a mama to lead them around. This is me. I hatched them. I chose to put them in the incubator. And I will make sure that they are big enough. Now, anything can happen, even as a full-grown duck, I know that. But we have had good luck with full-size ducks, full-size mallards, just not the babies that the mamas take down to the pond. So I hate to have to report such sad news, and nature, like I said, can be cruel, as we all know. But I wish I knew. I wish I knew what happened to them. Not that it would make things any better, but I may could fix it. I could do something to help prevent it. And they never used the house, the little house that I bought. Those little ducklings went straight to the water, and they swam and swam and swam, and I hate it. I just hate it. So enough about that. Just know that I'm happy to be home, and I'll do everything in my power to help these 5 that are over here in this brooder to survive. And until the next video, y'all be good.